So you're playing Genshin, you do a 10 pull, and when you don't get a 5-star, you do get honorary 5-star Xingqiu. Now, what do you get with Xingqiu besides the second, I guess, Genshin femboy? Well, Xingqiu is a sword-wielding Hydra user, and in this video, we're going to look at how to build Xingqiu specifically for Hyperbloom teams. Now, this is usually where I would have a sponsor read, but right now I'm not doing sponsor reads. I'm my sponsor. Follow me. And Mimikyu, and Umbreon Mimikyu, and Tuna, and the Sylveon Pikachu plushie. Tuna, get back over there. Move out of the way. Thank you, Tuna. So first we're gonna look at how Xingqiu kits work, how Xingqiu's kit works. So mainly it's going to be a couple of things. One, his skill, he's going to do 2 Hydro Slashes, and afterwards you're going to have these kind of Hydro Swords rotating around your on-field character. Whenever you take damage, one of the swords will bust, it will reduce damage and giving a little bit of health back over to your on-field character as well. If you don't take damage, if you use it and you never take damage, then they will, when they expire, they will do a little bit of healing as well. Outside of that, his skill is just a way to make energy for Xingqiu, really nothing else. His burst is going to be where his main portion of his kit's going to come into play. Whenever he uses his burst, he is going to now do off-field coordinated hydro attacks with your on-field character. You're also going to get those swords around you, kind of like from your skill, but this is mainly going to be a great way to do off-field hydro damage. So through Alhaitham and Xingqiu, a lot of blooms are going to be made. Now, in a Hyperbloom team, we need an Electro character to now trigger these blooms that have been created between Alhaitham and Xingqiu. For that, we are going to be using Kuki Shinobu, because Kuki is one of, if not the best, team-dependent, kind of depends on the team, Hyperbloom triggers in the game. Whenever we use Alhaitham and Xingqiu, Alhaitham's skill and Dendro conversion, with Xingqiu's burst, we are going to be producing a ton of these blooms. You're going to be doing hydro damage and dendro damage to the enemy, but then we're also going to be creating a ton of these blooms. Kuki, using her off-field skill, is now going to trigger these hyper blooms, dealing a ton of dendro damage to the enemies that are around. Now, here's the tricky thing about Hyperbloom. The calculations or the stats that go into Hyperbloom is going to be the level, so level 90 or as high as possible, and the elemental mastery. These two stats are going to be directly contributing to Hyperbloom. Hyperblooms can't crit or anything like that, so we don't have to worry about crit stats. It's only level and elemental mastery. So whenever it comes to Xingqiu's build, it doesn't matter. His build, you do not build him full EM, you do not build him as high a level as possible, okay? Xingqiu's elemental mastery level does not matter whenever it comes to Hyperbloom damage. The only person that matters whenever it comes to how much damage the Hyperblooms are doing is our Electro trigger, being Kuki Shinobu. So she has a ton of EM, she has level 90. Xingqiu's does not matter. We are going to be building Xingqiu the standard way, being Emblem of Severed Fates and most likely a sacrificial sword. He is going to be doing so much damage through his burst, and his damage can crit. So we need to have a good crit split. I would change to a crit rate circlet if I had a crit rate circlet in Emblem, or an Emblem Hydro Goblet. I don't, so this is what we're dealing with. And ER, right? So we're going to have an ER weapon, ER Sands, and then most likely a crit rate circlet, and then a Hydro Goblet. You do not build Xingqiu for elemental mastery in a Hyperbloom team. I've gotten this question a lot, so I wanted to make a video and kind of pretend like there was a way to build it, or it did change it. Get to this point, it doesn't matter. Xingqiu, you build standard. You still just build him Emblem of Severed Fates, ER, and crit. For the weapon, Sacrificial Sword is phenomenal on him because you get that skill reset, meaning that once you go through the entire rotation, you will always be able to just have his burst off of cooldown with enough ER, which you're going to be building anyway because of the Emblem artifact set. And in the same vein, Alhaitham is going to be built for crit. Right? We don't care about his EM. We do because he's going to be causing, spread aggravate reactions with him and Kuki, but we're not building him full elemental mastery like we are building with Kuki. Kuki is the only one, or Raiden, if you're going to be running Raiden, or like off-field Dory or something, whoever your Electro trigger is, that is going to be the character that you're going to build level and elemental mastery. That's the only character that you're going to be building for level and elemental mastery. You do not do that for Xingqiu. So does this build for Xingqiu work for any other teams? Yes, it works for probably 99% of the teams that Xingqiu is going to be in. So if we were going to use him with like Arlecchino, we're going to do the exact same thing. We're still going to build him with Emblem of Severed Fates, Sacrificial Sword, have a good crit split if I had a crit rate circlet, because Arlecchino and him are going to be using that off-field burst to do vape reactions, which are going to be very, very good for somebody like Arlecchino, right? Because it's the normal attacks that trigger Xingqiu's off-field Hydra burst damage. That's what Arlecchino mainly does. That's what Alhaitham mainly does in those two teams. So using him, or Yelan, is a very, very similar character, for somebody like Arlecchino is going to be phenomenal. Or for Alhaitham and a Hyperbloom team is going to be phenomenal. But again, don't care about his EM, kind of do on the vape side, but that's completely different. We don't care about his EM on the Hyperbloom team. The only time that you would actually care 100% about building him full level and full EM is going to be something like a Nilou Bountiful Core team. But I don't see a ton of Xingqiu's being used in Bountiful Core teams. There are better characters, and there are better spots for Xingqiu that are not in a Nilou Bountiful Core team, so you don't see that too often. But if you do, that's where you would build him full level and full elemental mastery. Now that's actually going to be it for this video. It's a little bit shorter, I know, but I get asked that a lot as to who or how do you build Xingqiu or your Hydro character or your Dendro characters for Hyperbloom? And the answer is normal. You only care about your Electro triggers, elemental mastery, and level. You do not necessarily care about your Hydro or your Dendro's elemental mastery and level. You want them to be a standard crit build. So that's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you comment, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Kooky has green hair. I have to re-dye mine, and I'll see you in the next one.